of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Forgot to turn on the microphone there. All right, guys. Sorry, I'm a little, about 5 minutes. I was playing and, it was one of those matches. Well, way over time. Anyways, so we got 2,000 subscribers. So I thought maybe we would just have a little bit of a fun stream. Plus, today the futures opening for the week, and after the the biggest down week ever, we did close up. A pretty wild move up, into the close on Friday. So this week's open is going to be a really big deal. So hey, Lucas, how's it going? Let's see here. I'm getting everything's loading here. I don't see I'm connected. I don't see them putting the size up yet. I think it happens about like 5 minutes before. So I think here in like a minute we should start seeing some stuff on our screen. Oh my gosh, and I got my stupid gaming sleeve on. Take that off. Oh man. And I'm getting my data all here is good. For that this is not, maybe I'm not getting my data because my 1 minute chart here is not pink like I want, and that's, well, we don't need that yet. I was programming something, but I wasn't getting any data, so it wasn't really working. Dave, how's it going? Wanted to be sleeping an hour ago, but you made me curious for the open. I pray for your ungood that it isn't a boring one. What is the gaming sleeve for? So you have a pretty big, like, I like to use my whole arm, or I'm trying to learn to use my whole arm, and when that happens, your wrist will drag along the mouse mat. So I have this sleeve, it's kind of like, those like tattoo sleeves. It's like that, except for it looks all gaming style, so that you don't get rug burn on your arm. I know. It's pretty dumb. All right, come on. Last time I did this, I saw the size up 5 minutes before, so I thought maybe it's just 1 minute. Can you show the other markets? You know what? If I got gold and oil data, I would do it, but I don't have. I only got the CME data basically, so I don't get the. Actually, you might get gold, but probably not. No. Yeah, don't get it. Just the Z's, basically. The Z's and the E-minis is all I'm getting. I could get the other ones. I just, I'd have to spend more on data every month. And if I'm going to spend more on data, I'm going to get like a news squawk, It's something like what? Over $50 a month for a news squawk? Actually, it's way more than that. I think it's like 80. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I see enough. Like when I look at my my 1 minute chart on the E-mini over here in the charts, it's not showing me anything. Okay, so the close in the E-mini was 22.87 and a quarter. 22.87 and a quarter. What's your prediction for the week? Well, I probably shouldn't predict. I think that we're probably going to have a lot of volatility still. Which is to say, I don't think that it will be like down every single day like it was last week. At least I hope it isn't. But if we get anything like that, it's going to be like, well, sorry, if we get anything like that, it'll be because there's like more really bad news or something. I think that people might be coming to their senses a little bit. At least the market might be coming to their senses. Regular people are not. We can talk about that in a second. But I would expect something more of like you have one day that's like a really big recovery, and then the next day it's really really big down, and then you have a day where it's 700 points on the on the Dow up and down, that sort of a thing. Like you get really a lot of up and down both ways, basically. It's kind of what I would be looking more for. Okay, so I am seeing some numbers coming through in NinjaTrader. I'm not seeing them over here, though. Well, wait, if I don't get them a minute before, maybe I will close it and start it back up, because I'm pretty sure I should be getting data right now. So their PMI. Oh, there's Japanese PMI. Okay, so I'm still not getting it. Let's just like close Jigsaw for a second and open it back up and see if. Yeah, it should. I really thought that I got them putting the liquidity up before the open, but I'm not seeing that. Maybe Rhythmic doesn't do it anymore. Okay, it says I'm connected. Maybe Rhythmic doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I see a couple of bids and asks placed in. You can see it up there up in here. So I don't know why it wouldn't show. That's okay. We get to see the open. So remember, it was 22.98 or so. Okay, so there's some. Okay. Man, Jigsaw, what's up? What's up with my Jigsaw? We are on M, right? Oh, no, wait. 06. HM, yeah, that's all correct. Man. 2911, you say? Yeah, 2911. So it's opening up quite a bit lower. Basically, that whole crazy move up that we had on Friday was retraced here on the open, at least so far. Come on. What do I gotta do? Close it. Open it again. Reload my diamond cells. Pretty weird.
Dave A says my Dom is a shit show. Harlequin says oil also opened $2 lower.
I'm pretty sure it's me.
Harlequin
not
says
Rhythmic,
using Rhythmic and no problems, by the way.
Rhythmic. ZN June 2020. Okay. I do it that way? Do I? Oh. That did something. I mean, like my NinjaTrader is getting the data.
Harlequin says lol gold the only one still unfazed. It does not want to go higher.
Well, I think that all of the players that would be there to buy it up are got margin called is my understanding. Oops. So I'm planning on watching like the first hour or so of this. See what they do. I can see the E-mini. There was an attempt to go higher.
Says, or they got the coronavirus, lol.
Right. There was an attempt to go higher, but
derivatives trading
already. Oh,
derivatives trading involved derivatives
you're
trading
watch the
involves
whole
substantial
intro
risk
again.
of loss and is not suitable for all investors.
Push the wrong
Past
button.
performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
so
stressful.
funny.
When the world's on fire.
Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Maybe the E-mini. Sorry about that. Gosh. I'm so dumb. I feel so dumb right now. See, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Because it's doing something. Still on March. When's the rollover day for the ES?
Lucas says it's okay. I missed the panic reel at the beginning.
It didn't feel like a stream quite yet, so we had to play it twice. I'm so confused by why Jigsaw's not giving me data. It must be too many. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Well, the other thing is I'm using, my Ninja Trader is usually using a demo account. So maybe it's that.
Harlequin says one question, how does the open price get defined? I mean, we had this 100 points up move in the S last 20 minutes and now 100 points lower.
Yeah, good question. So the way that it works is the liquidity providers, well, even you, if you wanted to, can put orders up on the DOM before the open. So you can put your bids and offers where you want. And that's kind of how they negotiate down to where they want it to be. So you can place liquidity, but you can't actually execute market orders to actually get the market moving. So yeah, so that's basically how it's decided. So that market makers putting liquidity up. I'm a little concerned. I wonder if that has something to do with my account. No. I mean, it could. I guess it could be, but I would think that I would get something from. Yeah, no. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, I should have data now, right? For sure. Yeah, I never really cared, to be honest, because usually when I sleep, the market is open. Yeah. All you people usually don't care about the Sunday open. It's funny to me that they decided to go back to that 2900 area. Man. Man. What am I going to do if it's like this tomorrow? I don't understand why it's doing this. Like, I can connect. I'm connected. I'm not receiving any data. Let's open up.
Harlequin says you made me stay up for this.
I know, right? Okay, hold on. What if I do? Oh, here. Let's try this first.
Lucas says don't restart, just Jigsaw restart everything.
Hold on a second. Okay. So here's my demo data. Okay.
Harlequin says you have Sierra, right? I think they at least have a 15 minutes delayed data feed for free users.
No. I think there's something wrong with my live account. Oh, wait. Maybe not. See, look, here's my Super Dom. I'm connected to my live account now on Ninja Trader, and I'm not getting anything. I mean, not quite sure what the deal is. I mean, I did blow my account last week, right? But I was still getting data, and I should still get data until the rollover when they normally charge me, which is a couple of days. And I already put more in. So I don't confused as to why it's doing that. Maybe they just think, hey, no live account. I don't know. So that's weird. Well, not that it's like wait a second.
Algo Lover says really, thinking face, early bird face with tears of joy.
Is this early for you? Wait, isn't it like in the middle of the night for Europeans? Man. See, my thing is loading data. I think.
Algo Lover says for you, grinning face.
Thanks. I'm having data problems. And then I get on the date.
Harlequin says midnight in Germany. That's why I said, you are making me stay up for this lol.
Wow, it's midnight? Well, there you have it right there. Like, let's switch this to yes. Not very much on the DOM, but 2910. Well, I'm going to be super disappointed if it's like this in the morning.
Algo Lover says I'm not in UK. Some of my folks are thumbs up.
Well, we opened lower. I think that's pretty much all there is to see. We'll sit and chat for another 45 minutes or so, but usually it doesn't move a whole lot after that. So, I don't know. Over here on this 1 minute chart, where was it? I was doing something. Oh, let's move Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still moving down, huh? Where is it? Man. Oh, some of these are still loading stuff. Well, that must mean it's my level 2 changes things that are causing a problem. I think that I should come in here and clear that out. So all of these. Actually, first, indicators. Okay. And this chart can go. That one's cumulative delta, right? Have it somewhere. Here it is. I think. Yeah. This one right here. What is the difference? Oh, okay. So was this one. This is the one that I was trying to figure out what I had something that's slowing everything down. Let's delete all of those. Okay, no, they're bidding it up. Okay, or at the moment. 29.15. Didn't see anything huge. Let's see if we can show ourselves more. 100. Cool. Okay. Some big offers showing at 29.20 or so. Well, they went right through them. And look at that huge bid at 19. Oh my gosh, the Ninja Trader job is so awful. It's so awful. Oh, but you know what we can do?
Harlequin says, so how many people got fucked over the weekend?
Well, so I know that Igor in chat, he went long going into the weekend. He's probably just at break even though, and in fact, any of those guys that went long probably are still just at their break even point. So I don't think that them opening down is really a huge deal. I could be wrong about that.
Lucas says, where's the S chart?
I'm just gonna. So these ones up top are the ES charts, right? This one right here is the one that we really want to look at.
Lucas says TF.
There's some weird stuff going on here though, because I don't. It's like it's not showing my moving averages and stuff. Oh, I guess I have to have more bars on the chart before I can do that. Okay. Anyways, I think what I need to do here is try and connect this to the demo data. So actually, let's try connecting it back up again. For a moment, see if it does anything. Hmm.
Leonardo Bruni says the calm before the storm.
Could be.
Algo Lover says Berzetta bite above the gap targets 171.20 face with rolling eyes.
Hmm.
Harlequin says do you think the markets will go crazy as well if Bernie wins the election?
Oh, yeah. If Bernie won the election, I think that the markets would throw a huge fit. I think that if Bernie won the election, you would get something similar to what happened when Obama was first elected. Not just after he wins the election, but after he takes office, the first month or two of him being in office they'll be really upset. Is I guess is what I the best I can describe. I always have a hard time finding my. Man.
Gary Rich says at Algo do you tweet?
Oh yeah, I'll go lover. We were wondering if you posted it somewhere that's like you can always get it. Okay. It gave me a ding there. Oh, there we go.
Algo Lover says at Gary Rich sorry, avoid social like the plague or COVID-19 face with tears of joy.
But you come on YouTube? What? Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Let's see if that. Okay. Well, now I'm connected over here to my demo. Still nothing loading. Hmm. Maybe I have the wrong symbols loaded.
Gary Rich says at Algo okay, I do understand.
I don't understand. Yeah. The symbols are different. There we go.
Algo Lover says YT when I feel like it in Benzinga Premact, TFNN etc. Oh, and here okay hand.
You should just get it. Well, yeah, you should just get a Twitter account and post the note on Twitter. Or you should go and post it in Discord. Is what you should really do. Oops, this one I picked the wrong one. I want March. There we go. 18. There was a really big order on the Dom there for a bit. But it looks like it's gone. It looks like it's gone. Okay, well, and on this side, I will try and connect NinjaTrader tab. Let's see if I can get it to do the thing.
Algo Lover says not a first time suggestion face with tears of joy but really not much for the extra nonsense that brings, so, zipper mouth face.
That's funny. Because I feel like, well, I mean, obviously not our room, but chat on YouTube
Lucas says
can
oh
be...
nice, you fixed it.
Chat on YouTube can be a little crazy sometimes. Well, what I did is my demo data is working and my live data is not. I don't know. But, okay. Some buying there.
Lucas says so is that delayed?
No. No, it's still live data.
Gary Rich says sea of red across all world markets.
So the way that, well, I don't know how they do this, but just based on how we did things at Goldman Sachs, how we do things at the company that I work for now in terms of like you have QA systems and stuff, the way that they typically will do this sort of a thing is you'll have different copies of your system for, development purposes, right? So you have a dev environment and a QA environment. So if you make a change in how your system works in like your protocol or something like that, you do all of the development in dev and QA. And then you have something called stage. And what stage is like, it's really hard to exactly duplicate what the circumstances are going to be in production because it's different computers, right? So what they do for stage is running on the same machines as production. It's just like a separate instance of the machine. So I think that's what they're doing. And so when the things get really tight and they run out of system resources, then the system is just set up to prioritize the traffic coming through the live. So that's why sometimes when it's live, the people on demo data will get like delayed, it won't be quite right because that's when they have to divert some of the resources over. And it also means that they can cover like twice as much processing as, normal. Like they're only using half of their computing power. Probably even less than that. Probably like when things are like getting kind of hairy, they're only using half.
Lucas says looks we are going to have the same shitty liquidity as last week, alas.
Well, I mean,
Harlequin says lol just saw on
so.
Twitter that Buttigieg dropped out. Guess you were wrong, Seth.
Did he really? Oh. Wait, let's see. Futures down. Pete Buttigieg drops out of presidential race.
Gary Rich says someone call Uncle Powell and Andy Largard, get them on the bat phone.
So you know what that means though, right? That means that he cares more about defeating Bernie Sanders than he does about him being president. Or maybe somebody offered him to be VP. Question is, will he endorse somebody? Remember, I was saying he's a really good chance that he will be VP.
Harlequin says, do you feel the Bernie yet?
No.
He is coming for your stock market.
I mean, here's the thing. Of course I said that I think Buttigieg will win. But I think that there was always a really strong chance that Bernie was going to become the nominee because he ran last time and he had the most existing support, right? So it's not necessarily like a big, like startling development if he becomes the nominee. Know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. The market will not be happy. They will not be happy about it. But they're probably gonna downplay it and not care so much unless they start seeing post-convention polls showing Bernie in the lead or winning in key battleground states. Yep, I'm seeing them all. They're all coming through on Twitter that he's dropping out. That's interesting. Okay, it looks like I'm not getting like DOM data, but I am getting price data. It seems. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Oh no, wait, it stopped at 25. Yeah. It's not actually receiving data. It's connected and it thinks that everything's fine, but they're not sending me data. I'll need to look at that. They're getting a little bit of gaps in the 10-year from time to time. But look at that big old order at 06. Also notice, have you seen in the E-mini here, they've been like sweeping in some spots? Well, I'm glad that I did this today and that I didn't have all of these problems tomorrow. Well, let's see. I clicked the link here. Where did it go? I got TweetDeck works really well in Brave browser now, and so I've just completely switched over. Something's wrong with Chrome. It's like not saving any kind of session data, so like I have to relog into Twitter every day. It's super annoying. I want to read this on the Hill. Yes. Okay. Did he say anything? Pete Buttigieg is dropping his presidential bid after a disappointing showing in South Carolina, ending a meteoric rise that saw the once obscure former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, beat out several bigger name rivals in the race for the Democratic nomination. Buttigieg is on his way to South Bend, where he will make the announcement later tonight. So he's going to have a speech. He hasn't said the speech yet. Anybody else could give like a speech after they dropped out? By the way, guys, I am also dropping my presidential bid after a disappointing showing in South Carolina. I know you're disappointed, but I mean, I felt like that as much as I want to be president, that it was the right thing to do for the country so that y'all can coalesce behind, you know, a good front runner. Obviously, you know, maybe we'll have better luck next time. Obviously, it just wasn't our year this year. I'm sorry, I know you're disappointed. So Steyer dropped and Buttigieg dropped. Let's see what we're seeing on Politico's front page.
Harlequin says, by the way, why didn't you get the whole CME bundle? It is like $15 instead $5 for just equities plus bonds. Especially right now, I am glad I do not only trade the Amini. Gold and oil were far easier this week.
Well, so first of all, I don't think that if I get the data that I'm ever going to trade more than just gold and oil. Yeah, I mean, that's like really the long and short of it, isn't it? But it was like, I don't think it was like that. I think that the bundle that I got was $15 and it was like $5 more for each one of those markets. So I didn't. Well, that was a decision I made like almost 2 years ago now. Over 2 years ago now. So I don't know. Let's go on to the AMP's website and look up the details of that. ampfutures.com. Client fee, exchange data fees. Plus, they just increased it. Oh, no. See, I am getting the CME market data.
Algo Lover says overnight, Monday, bearish on any hold below 3017, target 2792. If 3017 were to go bid before trading lower, then anticipate squeeze nerd face.
2792.
Algo Lover says welcome to March, thumbs up.
Yeah, well, so I don't think they've updated it because it just increased, right? I'm pretty sure they're charging me more than $10. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see here. No. Where would it be? I remember this one day I looked at it and I was like, let's see, here's VME, exchange fee. These were effective February 1st. Oh, these were just the commissions. Not that they increased the data. Well, 3017 is not that far away. Oh, no, wait, but it is above where we closed, so. I don't know if we're going to find out the answer to what Algo Lover just posed until much later, unfortunately. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. Every day, it was like the 1st of February. maybe this 12th one too.
Lucas says they were cheaper than competition, but I think they will slowly increase comms.
It could be.
Harlequin says man seeing the marked data for ICE. Really wanted to try FTSE, Brent oil and some other markets, but the price is just insane.
Right? I've always been like curious, why is the price so insane? What? Okay. I'm gonna find you.
Harlequin says because they don't differ between professional and non-professional.
Yeah. Well, no non-professionals are trading that exchange, that's for sure. Man, where is it? I'm trying to find the statement where I get charged the data. And I'm not finding it. Oh, here's a monthly one. Let's look at the monthly one. This was January. Yeah. Rhythmic CME bundle, $15. That was on
Lucas
the
says
10th.
Google AMP commissions.
That was on the 10th. Well, we already did that. Where's the monthly one for February? Oh, maybe I might not have gotten that one yet.
Algo Lover says Friday 11:09 a.m. Algo Lover, CL if sellers hold any bounce below 46.50, then 43 target. If 46.50 goes bid before that target trades, then anticipate squeeze higher nerd face. Lucas says the bundle in Ninja is 21 crying face.
21. Yuck. Yep, there it is. Okay, so now I know where to look.
Harlequin says AMP Master Race.
AMP Master Race. Journal entries. Okay, so then this one should be. Five, six, 12. Says I'm getting the bundle though. That's interesting. So I don't know where they charged it. Maybe it was they charged me on that day because it was the weekend. So maybe it would be like the 13th or something. Let's see. No.
Algo Lover says GC if sellers maintain offer below 1603, then 1550 target. If 1603 goes bid before trading lower, then anticipate a squeeze higher nerd face.
I don't actually see in February where they charged me for data yet. So maybe that has something to do with it. Oh, there's all 31.
Algo Lover says gotta run, maybe drop by in AM, thumbs up.
Oh yeah, I'll see you tomorrow morning for sure.
Funk that says I had an email from Sierra Charts stating price increase, however I got nothing from AMP and have seen no increase either yet.
For the data, yeah. Well, that's why I'm wondering, is it because it's March? Is that why my production data isn't giving me anything is because it's March? But I know that it doesn't. So like in January, they charged me on the 10th, which was a Friday. So do they normally charge me, well, okay, so now let's go back to December, I guess. December.
Uzi Knesset says Sunday
monthly.
streamy.
How's it going, Uzi? So now time they did it on the 16th.
Harlequin says well I am going to sleep now. Gonna be fresh for the European Open.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna wait. I'm
Lucas
gonna
says I
watch
got
this for
charged
another
today,
15
Seth.
minutes or so. You got
Funk
charged
that says
today?
I get charged about a week after first of month with AMP.
So you got charged by AMP today, and do you get the bundle? And how much did you get charged?
Lucas says Ninja.
Oh, you're with Ninja. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't know. I think there's something messed up with my account because I still had enough money in there to handle the data fee.
Lucas says so it might not be showing with your broker but they already might be charging you.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't gotten an account since 25th
Uzi
because I
Knesset
haven't
says
been
I
traded
usually
with the
get
account.
charged for my data round now. Should be in a couple days.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. So for you just catching up with us, what's going on is this. I have. Oh no, wait, hold on. Is it doing something now? No, I don't think it is. So I have my Ninja Trader connected to my live account, and it doesn't give me any data. See, like it just doesn't load.
Lucas says yes, what Uzi said. Hi by the way waving hand.
I'm connected via Rhythmic, but I'm not getting anything out of my live account.
Uzi Knesset says hi person raising hand mail sign.
Oh, I know what I can do. Do I have it installed? I don't even have it installed. Or are...
Uzi Knesset says weird.
Okay. Let's connect to it with Rhythmic. With our trader. I thought I had it installed, but apparently not. Okay. Anyways, so right now, Jigsaw's running off of the demo account. So we're trying to figure out why that might be, and I'm suspect that it could have something to do with it being March and all that. Okay, hold on a second.
Uzi Knesset says how much is in her ACCY?
Like $30. Oh, it's so hard to admit that. Oh, it actually connected? That's interesting. Because this should not. It should be kicking me off. I'll kick myself off of it. I'll disconnect this one. So, let's see here. Now I have to remember how we look at it.
Uzi Knesset says, ooh, I wonder if that'd do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's low, but
Funk that says I
that's what I'm
just checked and
saying.
AMP last charged me for data on the 3rd of February package $525.
Oh, really? Hold up. February 5th.
Uzi Knesset says I've only gotten down to $600 lol.
Well, the account was only at like 250. So I can't believe that I did that. I'm so dumb, guys. You know what the problem is when I trade going into the later parts of the afternoon and the Adderall wears off and I just lose. You become impulsive and you're not thinking straight at that point. Okay, let's see here. All right. That's correct. What does alert state mean?
Lucas says wait, do they charge you in advance or is it for what you used during the month?
Oh no, it just they just charge you for the month's worth of data when your account is ready to churn. So it depends on when you get charged should depend on when you first signed up for it. That's why it usually does mine on the 10th or around there. That's what I thought at least. Okay, what does alert state mean? Trader's Guide. Ooh, it's opening up. Oh, okay, PDF file. PDF file. Yeah, you know what? I'll read it over here because I don't want to cover up the DOM. And where was that? That was the Trader.
Lucas says so it might be for the used month of data, so you have no more funds for the upcoming month.
Well, but that's where I'm like, okay, but there's $30 in there, and even if the charge has gone up to $25, it should still be okay, right? But maybe they're gonna have to wait a couple of days for the check to get there.
Uzi Knesset says ooh, dinner's here. Gotta run. See y'all in the AM beaming face with smiling eyes beaming face
Hey,
with smiling
I'll see
eyes.
you later, Uzi. Alert state. No results.
Lucas says see ya Uzi. Uzi Knesset says later's person raising hand mail sign.
That when I look at the documentation, that that doesn't even show up. Alert. I mean, I think that number means something, right? I don't think it's a good thing. That's cool. That's not what we want. We probably shouldn't show that either.
Lucas says I might be wrong, but what I mean is those $30 are going to pay the past month worth of fees, so it leaves you without funds for the upcoming month?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that might be possible. You might be right, Lucas. But if that is the case, why haven't they sent me an email about it? You know? My account must be messed up somehow. Maybe they just went, well, he blew it. We're not going to, I don't know. Okay, hold on. She didn't. Okay.
Lucas says how do you say the opposite of being charged in advance? Ninja charges me once the month is finished.
I don't know. That's weird. It's just weird that, I mean, it wouldn't be when they would be charging me anyways. You know what I mean? I guess I shouldn't really worry about it. I guess we didn't mail the check yet. So, I think we'll have to just trade off. We'll just have to use the demo data for a little bit. Or maybe I should pass it through the bridge for a few days. Actually, that's probably a really good idea. That's probably what I should do. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. What was it called? Yeah, what is it called? Ah, there it is. JT Connection. Oh, actually, you know what? I shouldn't do it that way. I'll do it with a market watch. No, not a market watch. What is it called? Market analyzer? Yeah. Oh, I hear a baby crying. Did you hear that? He sounded upset. Okay. Columns. Indicator. JT connection. Hold on a second. What is that? What does that mean? Members. There's a level 2 timer now. Uh, uh, bridge. It doesn't say. Let's just put it to 10 for the heck of it. Okay. And over here, connect this. Okay. Cool. Platform. There we go. ZF. Oh, come on. It might take a bit because it's loading. Yeah. Okay. Okay. No. Not what I wanted. And ZB. MES. Yes. All these ones, well, I guess we might as well. ZF. And cool. So, now that I got all that fixed. Okay, there was a chart. This one. So I took off the level 2 changes thing. Does it go faster if I reload it? Oh, what? That's like almost instant. What? No. You know what? That can't be right. Let's try it again. Here it is. It like loads almost instantly. Well, that's interesting. I had this one chart was taking forever to like load up every day. And now it's just fine. I'm noticing, by the way, look at here on on this chart right here. I'll just make it big. Notice how the points of control are significantly higher than the open and close on all of these. So that's interesting. Okay. So now that we got that all worked out, looks like they're trying to buy it. Go, go, go. Look at them stops. The stops in the micro are hilarious, man. Did you see that stop run? Now would be a good time. We haven't checked it in a while, but now would be a good time to check the delay with the. So here it is, ES. This is not actually going. Oh, now it is. Took it. I think it just had to take it a bit to load it. Oh, that's right. When you mouse over it, it doesn't update. Oops. Well, it looks to me like the Jigsaw DOM is actually interpreting the data faster.
Lucas says looks like the Super DOM is behind.
Yeah. Now that is weird. I don't believe that. Okay, you know what? Let's get rid of. Oh, hey. Now that we got that, let's try and add this thing on here too. So we got this ATR. Made this a MACD sort of a thing. Should give me yes. Yes. Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to save this workspace. And I'm going to change over to my development workspace. I have a chart open over here. Oh, it's a pretty chart. I really like the way that chart is set up. Okay, and we'll open up another Super DOM with the ES on here. Just to see if maybe oh no, wait, and then I need to close this other workspace. Close. Oh no, that won't work. Wait. That won't work at all. Oh my gosh, guys. Watch, if I close this workspace, I'm gonna stop getting data. Watch. Yep. Oops. Oh yeah, ZF. ZN. BSMS. Columns. Indicator. JT connection. Okay. There we go. Okay. Hmm. So one problem is that what makes it go yellow, where the yellow moves to, is different from Jigsaw to Ninja Trader. When there's like a limit move up that like a bunch of stop run, like a stop run, you don't really see it on the Ninja one. It looks like they're pretty close. Maybe Jigsaw's still ahead, but I can't really tell. I would have to go through like frame by frame or something. Seems like though that maybe having too much stuff open can affect it. But I guess it was kind of because the one I remember one time people asking, and I was like, well, it does seem like that using the bridge does introduce a little bit of delay, but it's not significant enough to be a problem. And then they're saying, oh no, like it's terrible. But I think just doing that just now kind of proves to me that it's really not a big deal. Okay, well, it's been over an hour. They're at 24 now. It really looks like they want to move up. Don't you think? Let's reset that. Oh, and I have the little indicator that I made is backwards. So let's fix that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Editor. I'm making this kind of MACD thing. I'm wondering, do any of you guys have you ever really used the MACD? Because I was looking at it and I was like, why would you want anything other than the difference? You know? Whatever. Ding ding. Ha. There we go. And how far of a difference? See, I think that it should be, I should compare it to the average true range. Is that seems like something that somebody should have done before. You know what I mean? MACD versus ATR. Now, it's got to be like ATR adjusted MACD. Huh. Somebody made one on TradingView. When run at MACD, it can be useful to compare the value of the moving average difference to other values. In other words, it is a particular stock at a more extreme MACD value than another. This can be done by dividing the price. However, that doesn't adjust for volatility differences. Using ATR, one can adjust for price and volatility at the same time, allowing comparisons between securities more easily. And what does he do for his calculation? The fast minus the slow divided by the ATR. I think that makes sense. I'm going to try it and see what it does. Mm-hmm. ATR adjust. Just give me a long. ATR of 10, fast and slow. Divided by ATR. Oh, oops. Divide by adjust of 0. You can see how I get the long and then it they fight back. Interesting, huh? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Ooh, I like that. Oh, I didn't realize that it would be like that. So I got my chart here. And this is showing the difference between my two moving averages. And it's adjusted by the ATR. So this right here is one average true range below. Like the difference between them is one average true range. And this is one average true range above. So we'll see. But the reason that we want this is we want to be able to see that they're sufficiently far apart to justify taking it.
Because you're going to need it.
So I think that should work for now. Mm-hmm. There we go.
Close that.
I only did well because I used my cards.
Okay. So I want to let that run for a little bit, see if I get anything out of it.
Air Cages says, hey WTF is this stream lol.
We wanted to see where they opened at. So they opened lower than Friday, but not lower than the swing down. It was just kind of like that last run going into the close on Friday. They retraced that basically. So, and it looks like the pressure is up. So they're moving up. We'll see if they can make it above 29.90. I don't think I'm going to stick around for that long. I want to play. I want to keep playing my game. Anyways, but it was kind of a lame and embarrassing stream because my live data wasn't working, so we're getting it through my demo account right now. But it's still live data. It's still okay. So we'll figure it out. No big deal.
Air Cages says bull market reconfirmed.
I don't know, but you know what I think is going on? I think that when markets are freaking out, who comes to save the day? Plunge protection team. That's what I think happened on Friday. Am I the only one? That move up going into the close, that was crazy. Absolutely insane move. Let's see if anybody in Discord has said anything about all this. Seth, every time I hear presidential candidate news, I think of Veep episodes for some reason. Man, it's just so surprising to me that in the presidential race, I guess it shouldn't be surprising to me because this has always been the case, but that's still, I just find it so odd how quickly a candidate can rise to the top of the poll and then fall. You know what I mean? Like, that just to me alone kind of says something about the way that democracy works that I think is not good. You know? Like, there's a problem with democracy if people aren't educated, if people don't understand what's going on. Like, if you put them all in a room and you give them the opportunity to ask the candidate one-on-one any question that they want, you know, and talk amongst the other people that are going to vote, see what they think, and hear the speeches, like the way that it works at a convention or in a caucus system, you know. I feel like that they tend to make really good decisions. But the way that we have things right now, it's like it's all a media game, and the way that the media works is not, I don't think that it does a good job at picking the most qualified candidate. I think it picks the candidate that is the most famous and has the most money, you know? Not that I'm, saying that Pete deserves to be president and the other guys don't. I'm just...
Air Cages says, have you ever thought about streaming yourself playing games?
Yeah, but I don't think that anybody would be that interested in watching me play. So I could show you here. I've been playing Diabolical, and in order for me to get the game running at the frames that I would like, because I'm running a 1060, It's a 1060 is not an awful video card by all means, but it's kind of the lower end now. And this game is not a very beautiful game or anything either, but it's just not very well optimized, I guess. And so I'm running it like 50% resolution. It looks awful. It's so blocky and gross looking. But hey, I play and it's smooth. The input is great. And I think that the game itself is just great. So, yeah, I just honestly, Air Cages, I don't, like when you're talking about games, why do people watch people play games? And I think that there's really two reasons. One is that person is really good at the game, which I'm okay at the game, but I'm certainly not a pro. And there are certainly other people streaming that game already that are better than me. And two is because you're like extremely entertaining. And I'm not 100% sure that I would be extremely entertaining to the gamer group, I think that I can be entertaining for you market guys, our little community, but I don't know about the gamers would really latch onto it. If it was Unreal Tournament, it'd be a different thing. But yeah, I don't know. You just want to see more of me, is that what it is, Air Cages? 2918 again. At the lower end of this. And the move down is not look very great either.
Air Cages says I'm a certified Seth stan, so yeah.
We just got to get it to where...
Lucas says there's certainly a correlation between competitive esports and trading.
There could be. Well, it's probably that same kind of person is going to be attracted to both, right? Because the people that are attracted to trading are going to be attracted to either the idea of, working hard and figuring it out, and the prestige involved in that, or just the adrenaline junkie sort of a thing. And those sorts of people are also attracted to games because you get that same thing. You get the reward of winning, and sometimes some games can reward, well, like Quake in particular can really reward that super, adrenaline junkie kind of feeling. Because in Quake, you're chasing people around. It's kind of funny. It's because so I played Unreal Tournament. Okay, there was Unreal Tournament and there was Quake. Quake came first, and then they made Unreal, and then Unreal Tournament and Quake Arena came out close to around the same time, but Unreal Tournament was a couple months earlier. Unreal Tournament was more team play focused. It had really good capture the flag with a weapon called the translocator that allowed you to throw a disc and teleport to the disc, and that made the game really fun, and that was what I really, really liked. Okay, and in Unreal Tournament, you can dodge, which is like the player will jump to the side. Okay, in Quake, there's this bug called strafe jumping, where when you rotate your camera view, like you look left or look right, your camera rotating, that accidentally would get added to your momentum vector. And so if you turn your view while you're walking a certain direction, you can actually move faster if you're in the air. So what everybody does in Quake is they basically bounce around the map using this trick and going around really, really quickly. Okay. So because of that, it's really hard to like run away from somebody in Quake. Okay. And the rocket launcher is by far the strongest weapon, especially in this iteration called Hypothetical. Rocket launcher is really by far and away the strongest weapon. Okay. Unreal Tournament, the strongest weapon is the shock rifle, which you shoot a little ball of plasma out, and then if you hit that ball of plasma with that's the secondary fire is the plasma ball, and there's a primary fire, which will make the ball explode. And that is by far and away the most powerful weapon in Unreal Tournament. And that makes it really good for hitting people around corners, right? You shoot the ball, you send the ball out, you shoot the ball, and then you can hit anybody coming through the corner. So the end result is that in Unreal Tournament, it makes a lot of sense to back off around a corner and then try and hit the person trying to chase you around the corner. So it's so weird to go and play this game because in Quake, everybody seems so ridiculously aggressive. And you can, it doesn't work very well in Quake, but I'm good enough that I can kind of let them come at me and just hit them with the shotgun or the nail gun or whatever. But it's not like Unreal Tournament, and I'm just kind of like, I miss Unreal Tournament because all these guys are like hyper aggressive and are just crazy. So yeah, that's. So I just had another thought, completely unrelated. I guess I should be good until 6. It's
Air
probably.
Cages says I also like sports betting. You can genuinely find an edge in that. Research plays a big role as well. Kind of like trading.
Yeah, well, I think that you can find an edge in just about any. Well, there's a lot of these markets that just aren't very mature and developed yet, and so it's a lot easier to find a market in them. I think that political betting is one of those, right? You can definitely find edges in political betting. Fortunately, I didn't do so good. I think that I had the right idea going early, but I probably should have tried to play the rises and candidates more quickly. Because I really was surprised at how quickly Pete Buttigieg was like the top contender, and then all of a sudden nobody cared about him. I'm shocked that Joe Biden is becoming the moderate lane standard bearer, and Pete Buttigieg is just dropped out. I'm telling you, he must. I bet you that Joe said, "Hey, you can be my vice president." I bet you. How much you want to bet that Pete Buttigieg ends up being VP? Is there a market on that? Hold on, let's go look. What do you think? Vice President 2020 Democratic Vice President nominee Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren. Well, this ranking doesn't make any sense to me at all. Tulsi Gabbard? Are you kidding me? They think that Tulsi Gabbard has a higher chance of. This must not be a very liquid market. Let's see. Will it show me volume here? Show me volume. No way. 34K conscious. No, that's so dumb. Okay, I understand like the Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris. Well, I don't necessarily understand Kamala Harris, but okay. I understand that the idea of them wanting to pick a black woman to be vice president. Okay, sure. Elizabeth Warren makes sense because if Bernie Sanders becomes the nominee, chances of Elizabeth Warren being the vice president are super high. All right? I've never heard of this Tammy Baldwin girl, okay? But Tulsi Gabbard? Hell no. Democrats hate her. There is no way Tulsi would be selected as the vice president. Pete Buttigieg is, I think, really high. I think that it should be, I would rank Pete first, followed by Elizabeth, and then maybe Kamala and Stacey. And I don't know which order those ones should go in. I think that Democrats seem to be hotter on Stacey Abrams and Kamala Harris right now, but the main reason for that was, I tell you what, man, anybody that was going against Bernie, anybody that was going against Bernie just got decimated. Do you notice that? It's like, man, it's weird to think back on, but anybody that was a threat just got trashed, and now the Democrats seem like they hate them. But it was like, no, that it was always like that. It was just they only said something now because Bernie Sanders. They were running against Bernie Sanders. Man. Top story on Politico is Buttigieg. Mike Pence warns that more coronavirus cases are coming. Oh my gosh, can I rant about the coronavirus thing? We haven't talked about that at all, which is like the whole reason that we're here. But I was seeing posts on social media, people going to Costco, that all of the grocery stores were getting, people were buying all the food at all the grocery stores and the Costco. And I tell you what, it is just a mass hysteria. It is just the most ridiculous and silly thing to me that you're all out buying stuff, buying out all the food at the grocery store. Like, guys, if coronavirus, okay, don't get me wrong, governments should do what they can within reason to prevent the spread of coronavirus, okay? Or any other pathogen of that nature, okay? But the coronavirus isn't really any more dangerous to a regular person, a regular healthy person, than the flu is. So like this whole idea that like, okay, so it's going to come to America. It seems like it probably is. And yeah, they might, shut down some businesses and things like that. But just like that the whole society is going to shut down. Like, okay, if that's what happens, maybe next time around we say, well, you're just going to catch it and people are going to get sick, but we don't want you to shut down the factories and stuff over it. Because it's just like, if it really causes real chaos, because the chaos that would be caused by everybody going to the grocery store and closing the factories and everything like that is worse than from the actual virus. But then everybody is so upset about Mike Pence leading up the effort. Okay, so here's the unpopular opinion. Mike Pence is actually extremely qualified to lead the United States response to coronavirus. Now hear me out. Of course, I acknowledge. Okay, so I just got a downturn there. I acknowledge that Mike Pence has said many things that appear to be anti-science in the past, or that are kind of how do we say, insensitive to it. So, for instance, he made this comment about about smoking, and he says that like smoking doesn't kill people, which is absolutely ridiculous. Everybody knows that smoking is dangerous to health, but he does have a point in that, to some extent, how big of a danger smoking poses to the public is, exaggerated. Because again, they want people to take it seriously, right? So everybody thinks that like, oh, if you smoke, even you're gonna die, but it's not quite that same thing. So his argument was that the cases that they were pursuing against the tobacco industry were maybe a little overdone. I don't agree with him on that, but he has an argument there, okay? I'm just saying, all right? The other thing that they criticized him about was that there was an epidemic in his state for AIDS, and he didn't make the change that was recommended as quickly as people had hoped. The change that was recommended was that they need a needle exchange program so that drug addicts can go and get clean needles. Like think about that, okay? Who needs clean needles? Drug addicts. Okay? So they're basically saying...
Lucas says, yeah, tell Constantine he's not going to die if he smokes.
They're basically saying, in order to stop the HIV epidemic, we have to give the drug addicts... Okay, they're turning down a little bit more heavy now. We need to give the drug addicts clean needles. All right. Now listen, I'm not going to say something callous. Okay. They should do whatever is in the best interests of the health of the people in the state. And it turns out in this particular instance, it sounds like that the thing that's in their best interests is to have a needle exchange program. Okay. But I can kind of understand the perspective from people that might say, or why that would be illegal in the state, to people that say, well, if you do drugs and use a dirty needle and you get HIV from it, that's just natural selection, folks. I understand that argument. It's callous and it's wrong, but I understand why many people would say that and think that, and why it might be difficult at first to get a needle exchange program going in a state. So I really don't think that has any impact to this particular case, okay? But let me tell you about a couple of reasons why Mike Pence would be really good, because we're not asking him to develop a cure or to, be a data scientist or any of this. He's organizing a government response, okay? So the person that you want for this job would be somebody that is experienced in dealing with government responses of this kind. A lot of people would say, well, you need to put a scientist in there. Wrong. Scientist,
Lucas says,
worst
what's his stance
person.
about student loan forgiveness?
Oh, I don't know. He's probably against it. Pence. We're talking about Pence, right? No. Man, that really interrupted my thought process. You're okay. No. We're not. You don't want to put a scientist in that job, okay? A scientist or a doctor is not necessarily a
Eric
good
Cages
leader.
says it seems like corona cases are not spreading exponentially as once thought, which is a good thing. Hopefully it will be old news by May.
Oh, it
Nobody
will
is
absolutely
talking
be
about Hong Kong or
old news.
Epstein anymore. It's sad.
Well, absolutely. So I've been doing a little bit of research, and one of the things that I have learned is that this type of a virus does not do very well in warm weather. It actually needs the cooler weather to survive in the air. So this whole thing about how long it can actually be sitting on a surface, and then you pick it up and you touch it, and then you rub your eyes, and that's how you get it. That time period decreases exponentially when it gets hot. Like the sun just destroys this stuff. So when things warm up in the United States, this thing's gone. Well, I mean, it'll still be around, but it's not going to be spreading like crazy, like people were saying. But I still say, hey, everybody's going to catch it. Like there's a really good chance now that it's 40 to 70%, I think was what they said. 40 to 70% of the world will catch it. That every year, we're always dealing with cold and flu season, and it will be cold and flu and coronavirus season, right? That's where it's like, guess what, folks? Dealing with disease is a part of life. It's a part of life. Why is it that we need to turn to the government? This is what really happened, folks. And I don't know about all of this conspiracy theory that
Eric Cages says yippee.
The conspiracy theory that the Chinese or somebody did it to distract us from Hong Kong or Epstein, or I don't buy any of that. But I tell you what did happen. A virus presented itself, and the Chinese government said, this is an opportunity for us to increase our power amongst the populace and to gain their trust and support. And so they intentionally fostered this environment where the people were scared. All of these things coming out of China, where people were saying, oh, there's way more people dying than they're saying that there is, and all of that. I wouldn't be surprised if the government fostered some of that, to be honest, because what they want is they want people to be scared and turning to the government to solve this problem. What is it that you want the government to do? Should the government, people complaining about the Trump administration's response to this, should they just shut everything down right now just so that it doesn't spread? What is it that you want them to do that they're not doing? Why do we need mommy government to come in and swaddle us up to feel safe from something that we deal with every year? Flu killed like thousands of people just in the past week. And it does this every week. Nobody freaks out over that. Wouldn't, yeah.
Lucas says so it's just the new kid in the block.
Exactly. That's
Eric
exactly
Cages
it.
says I wouldn't put it past China to orchestrate something like this.
Now understand, there are some things about the coronavirus that are a little bit different from the flu, okay? It's more contagious than the flu. And for the people with immunocompromised systems, they're more likely to require hospitalization than the flu, okay? So understand that it's like, sure, it's a serious thing that the government should be concerned about, but is it something that we should be running around like freaking out every day that the world is going to end like some people are doing? No. This is just a new type of flu. It's a new type of flu. New York State has first positive test for coronavirus, says FX Macro, and that is why the market is turning down, probably. Man, well, I thought I was going to walk away, but now that it's going, I think we should stick around and see them sell it. Anyways, and I'm also getting the Chinese deaths. Death toll reaches 2,803. 42 new deaths on March 1st. Yeah, so I believe the number that I heard was like there's like 7,000 deaths a week from influenza. Oh, Wavy Bone says there's no vaccine. That's true. There's no vaccine yet. Probably in a year there probably will be. But it's going to be something that we're going to deal with every year now, I think. It's so contagious that that's probably going to be the case.
Lucas says, well, I'm a firm believer we are all fucked and the world is slowly entering a state of paranoia that is going to get worse and worse.
But anyways, so China it overreacted. China overreacted because they wanted to create that reaction in the populace, for the populace is dependent on the government for their safety. And because we were all watching the government of China freak out over this, and then it comes over here, and people are reacting the same way because they picked up all of the same conditioning from China. When here in the United States, it's really like, okay, what do you want to do? We'll shut down school. We'll tell you if, don't come to work if you have it, or work from home. But are we going to shut down our whole economy over it? I really don't think we should. I think that at this point, I believe that we're not quite there. I should not say that. But we're close to the point now where it's not going to matter. Everybody's going to get it. But furthermore to the point, okay, there's not going to stop being food at the grocery store, okay? Because here's the thing that people don't understand, okay? If all of the food in all of the grocery stores in the United States gets bought this week, okay, because people were telling me that they go to the store and that they don't have stuff at the store. Like everybody's been buying everything, and especially the Costco's and Sam's Clubs, right? Okay, there's no food. You don't have any idea how big of a monetary incentive there is for people to distribute more food. Yeah, there'll be food on the shelves, folks. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's just mass hysteria. And I think, there's going to be more cases. We're probably going to hear about a lot more cases, and this volatility will continue. But at some point, I think we have to sit down and say, hey, you know what? We're really overreacting to this. It really is another flu. It's a fact of life. Yeah, it's going to hurt the economy. I think Goldman Sachs, their last note that they came out was that we will narrowly avoid a recession, which is we'll have 2 quarters of like zero growth, but we won't go negative. That sounds pretty reasonable and in line with what's actually going on to me. And the panic scenarios that I'm seeing that justify us selling like 7 days in a row just make no sense to me. Well, not they don't make any sense, but I think it's just like mass hysteria. Okay, so we're getting some buying coming into the evening now. Hey, look at that. Am I talking up the market? Is a big fish out there listening going, hey, you know what? Said this right. But here's my other argument. Okay? Is that on Friday, Larry Kudlow was out on CNBC saying, hey, you know, I think that stocks are really good here. And I would be buying. And then you had the Federal Reserve come out and say, hey, well, we can reduce rates if we need to. And there was this crazy buy into the close. You know what? I think that a couple of big fish out there have said, hey, okay, maybe we do have a full-on outbreak, but I think that we've gone too far, and then now is a good time to buy. And the PPT, the plunge protection team, has been activated, I believe. And I would be a little bit cautious about just selling it outright and then just holding on to it. You know what I mean? Same with a buy. I think that is just going to be really, really volatile.
Lucas says so it's now this virus and they will go crazy with the next stuff, probably worse.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Air Cages says Kobe Bryant was the real distraction. Air Cages says is there really no food though? I saw plenty of food.
Yep.
Air Cages says by TSLA.
I saw people on my Facebook freaking out about it. I also had a friend on Facebook that was going to travel to Italy, and it sounds like they're not going to anymore. Well, the travel advisory says that you shouldn't go unless it's like necessary. So yeah, if you have a vacation to Italy, I would probably cancel it. But yeah, the buy all of the food thing is ridiculous.
Lucas says the only right price is the one at which the market is trading. Anything else is wishful thinking.
No. The market can definitely trade higher than what the intrinsic value of an asset or commodity actually is. But in this particular case, it's almost impossible at this point for us to calculate that. Apparently, some people are trying, and they say that we will get 2 quarters of negative growth. Well, not negative growth, but low growth. But that we won't actually get 2 full quarters of negative growth, is what they're saying. We'll see.
Air Cages says plane tickets are still expensive, so what gives? Wavy Bones says I thought the big news would be American death, but a media figure or leader death would be worse. Look at Iran's outbreak.
Well, I don't know about that. Like, again,
AP says young girls.
Like the thing that I don't think people are factoring in here is that there are people out there that directly benefit from people freaking out about it. One of those is the government. Like if you are at the CDC, yeah, you're going to go and tell everybody like this is a very serious, you're going to say whatever you can to get people to take it seriously because that's your business. Is managing disease, and you only have a business, you only have a job if people see that disease needs to be managed and controlled, right? So yeah, you're gonna make a big deal out of it. But does it justify some of the reactions that we're seeing? That's the question. Like, does it justify going to Costco and buying every water pallet that you can find there? No, it does not. I don't believe it does. Catch my drift? Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar on the coronavirus. The risk to the average American remains low. We are working to keep it low. Donald Trump retweeting this just now. Yep. Jordan Peterson on February 11th tweeted, "We're wired to be more sensitive to potential failure than we are to be motivated by potential gain. Watch to see how this affects the business world with coronavirus." Patrick Rooney retweeting that. Patrick Rooney, by the way, if you're out there, you watched my video and was commenting on why gold was moving down, and I was so excited that he finally commented on a video. I was like, yay! He's a great guy. I really like him. Okay, so we're back to 16. Oh, we came back there awfully fast. That one gave a good signal too. Look at the chart. Look at the chart. Oops, we need to zoom it in. So you see how we were like well past the average range when we were down in here? And then it came up and it came up again. I think that maybe we would want to wait for this second one. So the question is, what would we have seen there that would have shown us that? I'm thinking that if we're unsure, that we should wait for the point of control to move. So here they're trying to sell it through. And we were pretty decent on the upside. It might be enough to make it fall, but I'm skeptical about it. Yeah, did you see how much quickly they came back up there? By the way, AP, what were you saying about young girls? I don't know what. It was a weird out of nowhere comment. A couple of people. I made the mistake of arguing with people on Facebook, and I don't wanna. I don't want to go into that conversation with that person anymore.
Air Cages says, so when are you going to send me that ace algo?
When I've made $1 million and I don't need it anymore. Oh man. Here's the thing. It's literally a moving average crossover, right? He has two different types of moving averages. That's it. And the reason that it works is because you get a situation where the volume, where prices moved sufficiently far enough away from volume that it causes stops. And this is behavior of the market that I think we always had. You would see a spot where that's kind of where there was the lines. But now that I have an indicator on there, I can see what's going on there, and I can make much more. Job just walked in. Anyways, yeah. So, I don't think that Ace. The funny thing is that he didn't even know what he put them up and he set them and he never touched it, and so he couldn't really even describe until going in and looking at the settings what it was to me, and so he wasn't as able. If he had given us that description, I think that
AP
I would have
says
figured it
take
out.
a trade, sir.
Oh, I don't think that taking a trade in this kind of action is a good idea for me. Like, I never trade Sunday.
Wavy Bone says favorite signals, indicators.
Okay, so Wavy Bone. I would be... So the thing that I have learned is that most indicators are showing you the same things. Okay? So they're like just different ways of showing indicators. And that's why the majority of indicators don't
Air
really
Cages
work.
says, so we could have a similar result with just using an SMA cross and volume indicator?
Yes. You probably could. Just two moving averages that are in some way affected by volume. They're not just pure price. You need to have volume. Okay, so that's the first thing, Wavy Bone, is that volume is king. You have to know where the volume traded at. Price alone is not enough because they can pull their bids and offers and make price
Wavy
move
Bone
through
says
an area.
VWAP.
Yeah, so VWAP's a really good one. Excuse me. VWAP is a really good one, but anything that has to do with volume is good. Okay. I'm using right now, I have an indicator that I wrote that shows me the most traded price for that bar. Just for that bar. and I'm putting it on a 1 minute chart so that I can
AP says,
see.
what is that red-blue histogram indicator?
Oh, this one right here. You mean this? Yeah, that is basically the inside bid versus the inside offer. So it's like like this versus this. Yeah, we're just kind of looking for patterns for it. I think it's mostly there at this point because it looks cool, but sometimes it's been useful. Yeah. So level 2 is just, I would just think of it as another way of volume. It's like pre-volume, right? But you can read it the same way that you do volume. This indicator over here, the white histogram down at the bottom, that is just like total number of level 2 changes, and it tracks the volume pretty well. Except for that you'll see this first before you see the volume. I digress. Volume is the most important thing to look at, okay? The next thing that I would look at is anything that gives you an idea of what other people's positions might possibly be, okay? So the open of the extended session is an important price because all positions open, like 95% of all positions taken have been taken since that open. Okay. So we opened at 29.16. I think if I come over here and I make this smaller here, yep, the vast majority of the volume so far in the E-mini has been between 16 and 19. Okay, so that's where most people's positions are. If we're able to move above like 28.50 or so, probably there's going to be some stop runs, just because that's sufficiently far enough away from that open price and above all of the other prices that we've traded in the past 2 hours to make it move, right? So the extended session open, the regular session open, and then also like the hourly open. Okay, so like at the bottom of the hour, because the E-mini opens at the bottom, everything opens at the bottom of the hour. So do it from the bottom of the hour. What was that hourly open?
AP says go back to the other screen for a minute.
So those are all things that I would pay attention to, right? Look at that. Push a little bit higher. Can they go? Well, the treasuries are bidding up as it happens, so I'm a little skeptical about the E-mini being able to continue to move, but it could be that they think that the Federal Reserve is going to cut, and that's good for equities and treasuries, so I suppose it's possible for them to both move up. What else? Mostly volume. You can see that I have like CCI on some of those charts, but I don't really pay too much attention to that right now. It's kind of something that I've been trying to incorporate, but I'm always looking at something, but usually my end conclusion is that it doesn't work. Normally it's, you find that it just doesn't work. This one, the one that I'm looking at for this crossover, like the 10-minute simple moving average, stuff happens when it touches it. No question about it. No question about it. Stuff happens when that gets touched. Okay. Let's reset this. they might have trouble getting above 95. So let's see if they can hold it or not. Oh, the treasuries came back so fast. Wow. Just while I was saying all that.
AP says what's going on behind you?
Oh, my stepson is just playing. What is he playing? I think that they're picking up a new game. Look at that offer push the treasuries down. Wow. Oh, I see Ireland PMI numbers came out. Maybe that's what that was all about. Something going on there.
AP says what happens when you touch yourself?
What the hell are you talking about? Why? Okay, so it was following it down, but now it's kind of... Oh, that's super interesting. Is the E-mini going to jump up from that or not? That was a pretty dramatic turn in the treasuries. I wonder if they're going to completely turn down.
Antenna Wild says welcome to the bear market.
Yeah. I don't know. I think
Air Cages says do you still feel like DOM trading is the way to go? Pros and cons?
I think that especially if you're trading the 10-year treasury, that you're gonna be missing a lot of information if you don't have a DOM. Yeah, I do. I think that some of the other stuff that I've been looking at, like this new setup that we got from Ace, is really okay. So there was a big turn there. It was really showing me something that I should have always been able to see just with the DOM. But now that I can see the exact spot. Because what we're looking for is this. Right? I'm looking for, we trade up here. A bunch of people trade here. And then price moves away. Very easily away from it. And then it hits this point at which all of these guys decide to bail. That's basically what we're looking for. And I could always see this, but it was always like, what are the conditions necessary in order to make it do this? And now that I have the lines up there and I can kind of see the spots where it can do it. So, yeah. That makes sense. That's kind of where we've been going from. But I think that the level 2.
Antenna Wild says there is no way in hell, with China under lockdown, with the lag effect on the global economy, that the market will go up next week or the week after.
Well, I don't know about that. I can't predict what it'll do.
AP says are you mainly a scalper? What is your style?
Well, yeah. So in the E-mini, we're looking to catch 2 points, basically. So we're definitely a scalper. In the treasuries, I'm taking like 3 to 8 ticks. 8 is more of a swing. But what I like to do is like catch a scalp, and then there are some situations in which I feel the situation calls for price to run that I might leave it on. Sometimes that kills me though. Donald Trump is on the tweets. Sleepy Joe Biden also said that guns killed 150 million Americans last year.
Antenna Wild says hate to say it, but I've been right the past 2 weeks.
That doesn't mean that you're going to be right next week. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to do. I'm just looking for this. I'm looking for this time period where you'll have like a big down day followed by a big up day followed by a big down day. And every other day it's like, and it's just completely wild. That's what I've been looking for, and we haven't been getting it yet. It's just been down, 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 down. So when you start to see the extreme volatility, that is people actually taking positions, and that's when you can get a
Wild
turnaround.
says gentleman's bet, bear market the next 2 months.
So you're gonna have to define that way more carefully. Antenna Wild. So do you believe that the E-mini will be down in a week, that it will be lower than it is today? That's a reasonable thing to say, and I think that that's a pretty good chance of that happening.
AP says why not trade crude?
Okay, so I would not recommend trading crude for most retail traders for a number of reasons. The first one is that most retail traders just do not know a whole lot about how the oil market works. Of course, you can learn to do it, but it takes a long time. But like how to read these oil supply reports, how OPEC works, how oil companies work, and how they trade the futures based on what's actually going on out there. These are all things that you're going to have to understand to trade oil that I don't know and that most retail traders don't know. Number two is you have to have a pretty large account to trade crude oil. It is very, very easy to lose $1,000 on a move. You can catch hundreds of dollars worth of slippage. You can lose your account very, very quickly. And what I find happens over and over again to the people that I know that trade oil, although there is a number that appear to have been trading for years and are good at it, but those are really, really good traders. What will normally happen is you'll catch a retail guy, they'll do really great, they'll pass a combine trading oil, and then once they get funded, they blow up. Because oil is just, she plays with your head. She'll say, "Oh, you're doing so good. Look, you made $1,000." And then once you think that you got a hang of it, she turns around and takes 10,000 from you. That's the way that crude works. Okay, so that's the next reason. And then the third one is going to be, especially for a new trader, I think that you're a lot better off trading a high liquidity instrument. You get much better signs and more reliable signs about what is going to happen from the volume. Whereas in oil, it can just turn on a dime and it just completely come out of nowhere. It's extremely likely to hit your stop. It's just really hard to catch a spot, and you really have to understand that particular instrument. So yeah, for those reasons, I'm not really a huge fan of crude. I'm not saying that you can't trade and you can't be successful with it, but it's going to be harder for you to trade oil than other instruments. For most people, the thing that's going to make the most sense is to either trade the E-mini or the 10-year treasuries. Or ZB if you're really a high roller. You don't want to trade the treasuries. Yeah? So yeah, that's my opinion on crude. Crude is always the famous one because it moves the most, but I'm just telling you, it's hard to make money trading crude.
Antenna Wild says oil will be down. Global shipping is already down.
Thanks.
Oil will come back in a month after OPEC reduces output to raise the prices. Texas trader Wayne says, "Are you a prop trader?"
Well, no, I am an amateur retail trader that trades part-time. I trade a super small account. Don't always do well. I got hit pretty bad on Tuesday.
AP says, "Have you done a combine?"
Yep. Maybe I should do one again, but I've just been like opposed to the combines in general lately. I think the thing that really turned me off was when they started giving people discounts for resetting the combine. So basically what they're encouraging people to do is swing for the fences. That's why you see so many people will get funded and then lose their account after being funded. It's because they're able to maintain the poor risk management. They're able to get lucky enough to get to pass the combine, but then once they're actually funded, their luck runs out. So that's kind of why I stopped doing the combines. Not only that, but it just made more sense to trade my own.
Air Cages says, "Become a funded futures trader." Prove your trading style. Earn your funded account now with Top Step Trader.
Because I like to trade the 10-year treasuries, I didn't really make a whole lot. Like the amount of risk that I want to take on,
AP
they
says, were you green in
encourage you to take
2019?
way more. No, it was not. How did that one end out? Oh, that's right. I was doing so the story was I was doing okay in January, and then May came along, and I forget what was going on at the time, but I just didn't manage it very well. This has kind of been the story. So then you go through the summer. I always do poorly in the summer anyways, so I kind of like bided my time and waited for the fall. And in the fall, I was kind of like doing mostly okay. And then I started doing really good with a particular strategy that I was doing. And then when the Brexit thing appeared, like that they were actually going to finally, have Brexit, that particular bout of market
Air Cages
volatility
says Seth is the coolest trader on the block. That's all that matters to me.
really killed my strategy. And what I found was the strategy that I was using does have a profitable long-term expectancy. It does have a profitable expectancy, but the drawdowns were much larger than I was willing to take on. So I kind of abandoned that strategy. We still watch it and kind of use it in relation to other things, but I kind of gave up on that strategy because of that. Okay. So then I started trading the micro futures, and I did really well with the micro futures. I've made some mistakes, and I'm still learning in the micro futures. So I don't like in the 10-year, like when I make a mistake in the 10-year, it's like, I've seen that before. I should know better. Like, why did that happen? Of course, you're always learning things, but I feel really comfortable in the treasuries. In the E-mini, not so much. And so that's kind of what happened this week was I'm familiar with this kind of market volatility, but I really did not have the experience trading the E-mini in that kind of action. And I was doing well and I pushed it, and then I made, I traded during a time period because I was doing well. I traded in a time period that I'm not familiar with, and I just got slaughtered. So, I think what I'm going to do is, because there's this thing that I've been making money on in the ES, I have done a little bit of work. I understand it more. I have some stuff set up to me to alert me to when I want to take the trade. I understand the conditions that create it, make it tradable, why it works. So I want to just practice doing that for a little bit, and then we'll go back and we'll try that strategy again, because I made like $600 on micros doing that, which is really good. I mean, I think that's really good. $600. So in micros with one contract, right?
AP says, did you know SMB has a combine sort of thing?
Yeah, somebody told me about that a while ago, but I haven't really looked in. I remember we were looking at it at the time, and it didn't seem like it was all that different from the other stuff. The other thing I was going to say is that when I started trading my live account with the 10-year treasuries, I've definitely had periods where I would have
Antenna
passed the
Wild
combine.
says, I pulled 5K out last Wednesday and saved myself $200 in 2 days.
There you go.
I'll put it back in about 2 or 3 months at the relative bottom of the bear.
I had some periods that would pass the combine, but again, it's kind of like, in order to pass the combine, you have to be catching like amazing, or you're taking like way too much risk, and so that's why I stopped doing them and why I don't recommend them anymore. But I know that you guys still like to take them, so that's why in the Discord we do have a discount link for Earn to Trade that Earn to Trade approached us and gave us. And I don't think that anybody ever uses it, but it's there and you can save money. And I'm totally willing to work with any broker, data provider, platform, or any other service that's, what is the word, reputable and helps you guys out, even if I'm not like a particular fan of them myself. So That's my opinion on combines. I probably want to make another video about combines, but ever since the baby was born, the whole like thought of me making a video has just kind of been like, meh. Really should. I wanted to make, so this is another one. I wanted to make a video about a hardware guide, but this coronavirus thing, because of the supply shocks from that, probably screws all of what I was about to say up. So it's probably too late now. I had it all recorded like back in January. And then when I watched it, one video was like out of focus. I don't know how I screwed that up.
Air
And then
Cages
another
says
video.
Top Step Trader equals scam.
I wouldn't call it a scam, but I just think that you're probably not going to pass it. You need to understand that. You're not going to pass it, and you shouldn't be taking it over and over again. I know people that take it over and over and over again. They've been taking it over and over again for years. It's like, take it once. If you're new, you can take it once. If you're old and you're really confident and you've been doing really well, and you want to swing bigger, then maybe it would make sense for you, but otherwise, just stop. Just stop. Anyways, so the larger thing that I was trying to get towards, though, was I don't make any claims of profitability. We're here. I'm learning just like everybody else. I think that the real value of this room has been all of you guys in the chat, because there are some of you guys in chat that are just so effing good at this. I just can't believe the trades you show me. And the results that you've shown me are just amazing. But we're primarily here for the community.
Antenna Wild says who is going short on Monday? There is zero indication the corona supply shock is going to rebound overnight. This is a several-month problem. There is a lag effect on the global market.
Right,
Air
if I had
Cages
it on
says
my
don't rub
hands.
your eyes, corona re.
My eye was starting to really itch there, though. I probably got rubbed something that I'm allergic to in my eye. Hey, that was a pretty good run up there. Look at that. Go, 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 go. I think the problem that you got to think about with the eye antenna, I think you're on the right track in terms of like, what does the market care about and things like that. It's just, you're looking at something that happened. You know what I mean? Like, it happened. Okay. We believe, we know that there's going to be a supply shock. So now the question is the supply shock going to be worse or better than we think it's going to be? That's the question. I can't predict that. I don't know enough about Chinese supply chains to predict that. Other than that, it's going to have a pretty significant effect. But that in the past, when we've had supply shocks, that people have actually been able to absorb them better than we expect. So we'll see. We'll see. Every situation is going to be different. So then question number 2 is going to be...
AP says crude might be easier to read because it's thinner. S&P has too many pro players.
I really don't think that an instrument being thinner makes it easier to read. I think that it's exactly the opposite. Let me explain why. So if we're looking statistically at a particular thing, okay? So we say it takes this much to move. Well, let me redraw this, okay? So like in the 10-year treasury, okay? 10K. 10K is a lot. You don't see 10K traded at a price very often, okay? 7K, 5K, okay? Okay, and then, you know, you get down into 1K, 500 is nothing, okay? All right? These are all of these things. So if I'm looking up at the DOM and I see 1,000 trade, and then I look up at the DOM and I see 500 trade, I know how big of a difference it is. And the difference to get from 1K to 5K requires different circumstances. And for 10K, it requires different circumstances. For instance, I wouldn't expect to see a 10K iceberg offer unless iceberg. I wouldn't expect to see a 10K iceberg in the 10-year treasury unless there was like, it was an auction day, or we were having like really significant action. It's just not that common. Okay. Now let's look at crude. Okay. So like crude is like 50. And then maybe if you trade 300 at a price, that would be a lot. And 500, I think, was the highest I ever saw. It's been a long, long time since I've looked at the DOM on oil. Okay. But like these are the different levels. And like, what is the difference between those two things, right? Like 500, frankly, a really big rich guy could make 500 happen, you know? And so basically the amount of volume that needs to happen for it to be like significant for me, it's really clear where those are in the treasuries because it requires so much volume for it to happen that it has to be significant. Whereas in the oil, in the thinner instruments, you might see that all the time, and it's really hard to judge where it is because the statistical difference between 300 lots and 500 lots is not nearly as big as 1,000 lots versus 10,000 lots. Make sense? So I really don't feel that crude is easier to read because of that at all. The more volume and the slower it is, the easier it's going to be to read the volume and determine where it goes. That's why the treasury, the order flow reading, man, like the treasury is the place to go, or the E-mini. It's the same thing. Like if you're order flow reading, I would be putting my orders in on the E-mini and not NASDAQ. Or at least I would be watching the order flow on the E-mini because NASDAQ is so thin. When you're dealing with a thin instrument, its specific price level is less likely to hold. You're going to get more slippage. And a big trade might not mean as much over there. And so you have to rely much more on things like what is the average range and scalping stuff out of the average range from it. Just pure price action. Maybe the overall cumulative delta that you're seeing from the session, but being able to just see an iceberg is not like, it's a totally different game when you're trading the thin instrument. And the bigger issue is that you can lose so much more money trading the thin instrument. I mean, that's really probably the biggest problem, right? That's really probably the biggest problem is you can just lose so much more money doing it. But like I said, I know some guys that trade well, like Rich. Oh, he's not here. We haven't seen Rich today, have we? He trades oil. He's been pretty good. The other Rich in the Discord. There's a couple of guys I don't know all of the guys in the oil channel in the Discord, but there's a couple of guys in Discord that trade oil and are really good. But I tried my hand on it and it was so bad. I remember one day, like I was trying to just like risk $100 and losing like on sim $10,000 like every day in a row and going like, okay, there's something about this that I don't understand, guys. And that was when I started doing the treasuries and starting to realize like, oh, okay. So another thing is like if you're new, try trading and learning on the treasury. You learn a lot more on the treasury because it's so clear from the volume what's happening. Whereas in oil and the E-mini, you look at different prices and kind of have to feel out what's happening. Yeah. Like I said, I don't claim to be like a crazy profitable trader. I'm more like, I think like, oh, I'm not here to be like the best trader ever. I'm just here to provide value to you guys. And you keep coming back, and so I appreciate it. And I also don't want to be like so many other people out there that just pretend like they're the amazing and scam people out of money. And no, I feel like that if I come and I provide value to you every day, you keep coming back. And we've reached 2,000 subscribers, which I just thrilled with, by the way. You know, if I provide value, you keep coming back and, you know, I can get rewarded that way. And that is a much better business venture, I think, than trying to scam people with some, education course that's not worth its salt. Yeah, well, so far, I wanted to go back to the thing that you were saying about you think that the indexes are going to go down. So we know there's going to be supply chain shock. Is it going to be worse, better, or worse than expected? That's the question on that one. Now, the next question is, are we going to have a pandemic? Because I think by that definition right now, we haven't had it yet. The United States is kind of on the precipice of there being an outbreak, but it hasn't actually happened. I would expect that some sort of outbreak probably will happen. So then that question becomes, has the market priced that in yet or not? And I really can't say. I mean, the way that it's acting, certainly I think that almost all the traders probably say that they believe that we will have a pandemic. But I can't really say if that's priced in or not, you know? But that's kind of the question on that one. You know, I would really like to see though, like I said, when the market gets really volatile, and I mean like, you know, hundreds of points up and hundreds of points down the next day and back and forth, and it does that for like a week or two, that's usually the bottom. Every time I've seen it since I've been looking, that's been the bottom. So we shall see. So far, the E-mini is moving higher. And they've been pushing pretty successfully. I think that there's a pretty good chance that they're going to make it back to 29.90 before the opening of trade tomorrow. And then we see. If they get back above 29.90, then game on, man. I would be hesitant to go short above 29. Well, let's say 3,015, but I think if we get 29.90, we'll probably make 3,015. Fair? That's as specific as I can get, but I think that it's better to just look at what's in front of us, and what's in front of us is it's up.
Antenna Wild says oil is hard because OPEC is totally swamped in insider trading.
Oh yeah, that's a good point too.
AP says, why do you use green as your heat map? Looks gross.
Yeah, it does look gross. So green is the color that your eye is most sensitive to. And because we're looking at like 10 different shades of green, it's a lot easier for me to see and judge the difference that I'm actually seeing on there with green. I actually don't think it looks that bad, but so that's why I use green. If you're playing like video games, make your crosshair green, or make your enemies green. If you want a color that really stands out to you, but is not necessarily the brightest thing on the screen, magenta. Magenta is like, because magenta is not really a color, it's maximum. It's blue and red and no green, so it's not a real color. It's not an actual light wavelength, but it's you're icing two wavelengths at the same time. Man, look at that. That was maybe too much. Woo. Dang. That was a good run. I'm glad that we waited that we've been going as long as we've had to see that. Because that was pretty crazy stop run there. I wonder now, when you get something like that, there's always a chance that they turn down a little bit, but like they're holding it up there pretty well. Even though, well, the point of control for this is at 60. I think that they're going to push it back down. And then we'll see if they can retake that again, or if that's going to be a turning point for a while. Yeah.
Air Cages says, I think markets tend to price in worst case and best case scenarios.
Well, yeah, that's going to be true. Well, I mean, there's going to be a certain range, and what's going to cause the range is one side, two different sides of the market, and the winner is going to be determined by the money in the end. Jeffrey Gunlat. Oh my gosh. So I tell you what, Jeffrey Gunlat, he is considered like the Bond king. Oh, by the way, Treasury's getting just creamed here. He is more willing to say, he is not like Warren Buffett, let's put it that way, right? He is not afraid to say something controversial at all. So here's what he just tweeted. When I first heard that the mayor of South Bend was running for president, I laughed out loud. Then I heard him speak and was impressed. Then I heard him speak more and became unimpressed. That's what Jeffrey said. What was he saying the other day about coronavirus? He said something the other day that I thought was interesting. I think it might be getting time for me to go because I hear a baby being... Oh, yes, that's right. That's right. Let me read this one to you. Jeffrey Gunlatch, Double Line Capital CEO and Wall Street Bond King, is pointing a finger at the Democratic presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders for the market's tumultuous rout this week. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The market does not believe that Bernie Sanders has a smidgen of a chance of winning winning the election. In fact, I think that Bernie Sanders winning the nomination would make the market bullish because they think that Trump is going to trounce him so hard, and that you will get such a Republican Senate and House of Representatives that is just going to be good for business all around. I think the idea that Bernie winning the nomination scares investors. Maybe it scares investors, but I really don't think that Wall Street is pricing in him winning. I think that's just ridiculous. It's like a 60% chance that Donald Trump wins right now against Bernie Sanders. Yeah, so the market came back down. They're coming back to that 60 area, which is where the volume really happened at. I think that the buyers can hold it. Very interesting. Overall, the trend up that we got was really strong. So we moved up. But, because we opened lower, it's still just like a retracement, like fill the gap sort of a move. So, I don't know about that one. Donald Trump's sleepy eyes. Chuck Todd is not at the top of his game. What? How are we doing? We're still got... Oh, I exceeded my limit, so you guys are probably asking me some more questions, and I'm missing them. The CDC said it is not a question of if the coronavirus will spread, but when. Another lag effect in addition to the one China is currently experiencing. This puts the bear market well into the fall. Nope. Disagree. Because once the summer comes along, the virus is going to die out. What's the deal with the whole YouTube subscribing? How much money do you get for a sub? How does it work? I don't get any money if you subscribe. Absolutely none. If you have 10,000 subscribers, then you can open up paid subscriptions. If I were to open up paid subscriptions, I would probably provide an extra service for you guys. Like, well, for instance, I have a Patreon, and for $5 a month, you get my cryptocurrency charts, right? And if I was doing it for YouTube, I would probably include something extra, like maybe like paid subscriber only chat sessions or something like that. But I'm not big enough to do that. So I don't make anything if you're subscribed. I recommend that you subscribe because I'm here every day in the morning. I start 8:20 to 10:30 Eastern time is basically when I'm here. So early in the morning. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning my time. And when I go live, if you are subscribed and you hit the bell icon, then you'll get notifications that we're live, and it's a lot easier to find the stream that way. So I would strongly encourage you to subscribe if you've enjoyed this stream or you want to learn more about trading futures. And yeah, but I don't make any money from it. But I do make money on the advertisements. And of course, the more subscribers that I have, the more likely that the YouTube algorithm is to pick up on a video doing well and recommend it to other people, even though I haven't been making like one-off videos lately. I probably should get to that. Maybe in another month or two. So there's a couple of things about the videos that were bothering me that I wanted to fix. So, yeah. Okay. Eric just says Corona canceled. No. But the disease does not handle heat very well. So as another thing, well, let me see if I can find it. Oh, it was such a good post. It was such a good post. Let me see if I can find it. Somebody that their father was a doctor that kind of specialized in pneumonia cases and stuff. He made a post with all of this information about it. Oh, the coronavirus is the common cold. Okay. It'll probably be really hard to find it again. But it basically, they were going through like common things about the coronavirus. For instance, it is airborne, but it only travels for like 15 feet or so. It does not handle heat or sun very well at all. It does not handle hot liquid at all. So they were saying like, drink hot liquids, don't drink like cold water ice that's been sitting out forever, because somebody walks by, coughs, and then it gets in, and then that can last a really long time on that. But yeah, so when the sun comes out and the US heats up, the coronavirus is not going to be able to survive very well. And so it will die down. So any impact that the coronavirus has is unlikely to continue past Q2, which is why, again, we're going to have like 2 quarters of lower growth. I don't know if we'll go negative or not, but 2 quarters of lower growth, and then things will work out. Every time I feel like I'm like talking the market up, and then the market's going up, and I'm like, oh, okay, am I saying? But I really do feel like that we're in the middle of a mass hysteria. Like, I understand the market should come down, and as when you really look at where we're at, about equal to November, I don't think that the market route that we've had is really all that unreasonable, other than the fact that it happened like down day after down day, 6 days in a row is pretty crazy. But some of the reactions that I'm seeing on social media look to me like hysteria to me. Hysteria. Oh, I need to close this because I'll keep forgetting that. Average bear market is 14 months. The average correction is 5 months. We are already in correction. Coronavirus magically disappearing in summer is not backed up by the CDC. Just another Trump comment. No, it is backed up by the CDC. Even if Corona died this summer, we will already be in the middle of the bear. Well, so it wouldn't be a bear market unless, I wouldn't consider it a bear market unless we reached 20%. So we're maybe about halfway to 20%. Sell t-shirts. Oh, so there was a question that you asked me that I missed, AP, which was what time frame or range is your heat map chart set to? Can you set it to 1 second for like 2 minutes? So I believe that it is set to 1 minute, but I could be wrong about that. No, it's not 1 minute. It's like 5 seconds or something. Oh, wait, maybe it's 1 second. It is 1 second. 1,000, 1,000. Yeah, it's 1 second. Sell t-shirts, buy t-shirts. I would like at some point to make some merchandise, but I don't want merchandise that just say like speculator stuff. I think that would be dumb. We're trying to come up with a brand that resonates with you guys, that you would like feel cool about having, that can be our thing, that's like beyond just me. Because like I said, I'm just the guy that's dumb enough to stream it, and I've made mistakes. I think I'm getting better, and I think that I'm really close to getting to where my first major goal, but we need to practice, and we need to be practice some, what is the word, restraint. I really overdid it on Tuesday. It's so lame because I did good all of the days after that, but that Tuesday was just, and I was doing really good on Tuesday up until a point. Anyways, the Seth stance. No, I don't want it to be anything about me. I don't want it to have anything to do with Seth. That's why I was saying, like, how about quote cult? Or what was the other one that we had? I forget what the other one. There was another one that was really good though. Oh, that's right. It was like Dom Gang or something like that. The No Chart Gang. There you go. Because I am in favor of Dom trading. There was that big move up towards 70, but then they came back to 60. I'm noticing that the bears are having a hard time pushing it back below 60. That was kind of the spot. I'm actually wondering why I didn't get a ding. Oh, there it is right there. Okay. So if we had a bear bias, which I don't have anything to tell me that we should be selling here, but if we did have a bear bias, that would be the spot that we want to be taking it. I'm a little cautious about that one though. I feel like that last move up in particular did not have enough overextension on the upside to create the kind of situation that we need on the downturn for it to turn and go so much lower. If the bear goes to November, Trump may very well lose to the Democrats, not if they elect Bernie Sanders, unless they deny the nomination of Sanders. If Sanders is cheated again, Trump will win easily. Well, yeah, if Sanders is cheated again, then he will definitely lose easily. But I think that the problem that the Bernie Sanders fans don't realize is that it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If you nominate Bernie Sanders, you are going to have a significant portion of the Democrat Party that simply will not support it. Not unlike how with Donald Trump, you had a large portion of the Republicans that simply did not support it. Now, the problem was that the difference here is that with Donald Trump, the reason that those Republicans simply would not support Donald Trump as a nominee was because of personality differences. They think that Donald Trump is crazy, for lack of a better word. Okay, sure. And then what happened was he became president. He did all of the things that he promised that he was going to do, which are things that all of the Republicans liked. And so they're kind of like, okay, cool. They go along with it. Or, even that. But during the election, he was successful and he was pushing the ideology that they wanted. So they kind of closed their eyes and said, well, I'm not going to let Hillary be president. And they clicked vote. Okay. It's not the same thing with Bernie Sanders, because their problem with the Bernie Sanders is not one of personality. Their problem with Bernie Sanders is that he is a socialist. So I don't think that he will get those voters back. I think that they will stay home or they will vote Donald Trump. No kidding. And there's a channel called Fat Cats. You might like it relatively. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Anyways, so Bernie Sanders winning really hurts Democrats. And not only does it really hurt Democrats, I mean, obviously there's like a certain number of people, and there's kind of this question of like, how many actually are there though, compared to the people that really like Bernie Sanders to allow you to win? Well, the problem with Bernie in particular is that the people that really don't like him because he's a socialist are the people that all live in the states that Bernie Sanders would have to win to become president. So, for instance, Bernie Sanders' chances of winning the nomination are exponentially higher if he wins Pennsylvania. But Bernie Sanders is opposed to fracking, which is a huge issue in Pennsylvania. He is unlikely, I believe, to win Pennsylvania now. And polls are even starting to show he's only up by like 3 points. And you know that those polls are always going to come back 5 points after the conventions. So I think he's unlikely to win Pennsylvania. His comments that he made about Castro mean that he is extremely unlikely to win Florida. So he could win Wisconsin, he could win Michigan.
Wow.
He could win all of those northern states up there and still lose to Donald Trump.
Wait.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the map for Bernie Sanders just is not good. It's so much more, like, seriously, it is so much more favorable for somebody like Joe Biden. Joe Biden could potentially take Florida. Joe Biden could potentially take Pennsylvania, and could it would be a real challenge. The problem with Joe Biden is he's a much weaker candidate, right? He says a lot of dumb things. That Biden is senile. Yeah, exactly. The problem with Biden is that he's a senile. So, but demographically and poll wise right now, Biden has a much better chance of winning the nomination than Donald Trump is, I think. Of course, you have to ignore these polls that show like head to head, Bernie Sanders does better against Donald Trump than, because those just measure name recognition. Those aren't reliable polls. Biden is Clinton with smaller balls. I think we need STEM people in government, not real estate tycoon TV celebrations. I disagree. Wavy Bone. Here's the problem. Just because somebody is good at science doesn't mean that they're good at government. Now, if you can find somebody like Angela Merkel is probably a good example, right? She's a good politician and she was a scientist. They do exist, but they're not very common. You don't necessarily want everybody in government to be a scientist. I'm sorry, but you need to have a variety of people in government, a variety of personality types. Because if you get only people that only think a certain way, then they're going to be susceptible to a certain type of cognitive biases. I'm noticing on your blue-red histogram indicator that when bids get very large, it goes against them more often than not, nearly immediately. Take a scalp on that? Well, so the problem with that, so let's see where we're talking about. So for instance, there's this, well, so here's the thing, AP. First of all, they're only putting like 500 on the bidder offer, which is like nothing. So I wouldn't read too much into that. Usually, generally speaking, the more liquidity that there is at a price, the more likely that is to hold, actually. But it's not a hard and fast rule. Like, if you take that trade, that I guarantee you it doesn't have a positive expectancy. But not only that, but you have to, like, I can hit into 120. I can say, okay, it's going to go against it. I can hit into 120, but then I still need it to hit 115 to take a tick, right? So that one wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. I do think we could, well, it's probably already too late. Yeah. At 10, I don't want to take it. But that at 11.5, I probably could have done that. But, if I take a trade today, it would be on Sim. and it's going to be, I'm not familiar with Sunday action, and the liquidity is very low. So this just is not a time period where it's very advantageous for me to trade. So maybe tomorrow we will get some. Of course, maybe tomorrow the liquidity will be low again, and we will just maybe we'll have a few YOLOs, and then I don't know. I don't know. Sanders wouldn't be able to help get anything through the Senate anyways. Not sure he hurts Democrats when Democrats are already as horrible as they can be. No, but there's a few really close races in the Senate that if Bernie Sanders is the nominee, that could be just enough to make those candidates lose. In fact, some people are even suggesting now that if Bernie Sanders wins the nomination, that the Democrats could lose the House as well, which is really quite, like, when you look at how big of a swing in the House that would have to be, it's quite startling. Anyways, but when I was going on before that, I don't think you necessarily want, well, it's just like I was saying with the managing the coronavirus response. I think that the best person to stick in that job is going to be somebody that has experience dealing with a government disaster response and controlling a disease. And they're going to be somebody that knows everything about how the local governments handle these sorts of things, and how the CDC and individual CDC, installations, or however you want to say, in each state work. And there's going to be somebody that's going to be very familiar with that infrastructure on the state basis. So you know what that means? You're going to want a former governor. So as much as people attack Mike Pence for some of his anti-science stances, and I admit that you said some things that kind of fly in the face of my understanding of science, at least, I really think that he was probably the most qualified person that the administration has at their disposal right now. And he's somebody that's dealt with a public health crisis before, too. So he has, like, direct experience that is directly relevant to it. So you got to look at the job and you got to say, well, what are the attributes that make somebody good at that job? And knowing scientific knowledge, I hate to break it to you, but for a lot of these jobs in government, that's like the least of your concern, because especially for a politician, what's going to matter more is how do you present things in a way in which the public will accept it, or that you'll get the reaction that you need to out of the public. And a scientist doesn't understand those things, and they screw it up all the time. It's just like, I can't think of any better example than Jerome Powell. I can't think of any better example of this than Jerome Powell, president of the Federal Reserve right now. That guy is a total egghead. I don't think that there's probably many more. I mean, there's only a few dozen people on the planet that understand more about interest rates, or let's say as much. There's only a handful of people on this planet that understand as much about interest rates and Federal Reserve policy as Jerome Powell. But when it comes time to have somebody stand in front of the cameras and give a statement about the interest rate policy and all of that sort of a thing, he fails over and over and over and over again. It's just, he's not good at it. And it turns out that that is a significant part of the Federal Reserve Chairman's job now. That's the issue. Scroll back a bit. I don't see what, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. You want to see further back on this? Do you like to see when the bonds turned back down? Maybe. So they hit 16. Looks like that they hit into, oh no, it was way past. It was way further back than that. Way up there. There we go. looks like they... Okay, so see here. Strong bid coming up. And then the bid pulled away. It looks like. So going back to the thing that you were saying about, when the bid gets too strong or whatever.
I just noticed you have a Reddit in like the couple's territory that you just haven't done anything with.
I think you need to put under over lines like 500 and negative 500. Yeah, it would be nice to have a line here to be able to say, like, at this particular point, it was more or less than this. But that's where I'm kind of like, unfortunately, the things that you really want to look for don't always show up down there. Like, we kind of created this chart to see if we could see them, and sometimes we do, but sometimes you don't. Because you're right, what you really want to see is, like, we had a really strong bid, and then it just disappears. And then which does it do? So, like, here right now, we came up to 11.5 pretty easily. But look, they're selling into 11.5, and there's an iceberg there. They can't push back down through it. So, no guarantee, but that gives us a slightly better chance of moving up. In this particular situation, though, it probably doesn't matter because they're probably going to move based on what the E-mini does next. Pence cut health spending during AIDS crisis. He defunded Planned Parenthood, which provided needles to addicts. AIDS spiral out of control when he had resources positioned. Yeah. So, I don't care. like, listen, I agree with them that they should do what is necessary to deal with the public health crisis. And in this particular case, it sounds like that the thing to do is to provide a needle exchange program. Okay. But I understand why there would be a lot of people that would say, hey, you know what? If drug addicts are getting AIDS because they're using dirty needles, then that's just natural selection. I mean, look, I understand why that, even if you agree with that, that's a hard thing to get, policy to get through, Last guy you want in charge of Corona come on set, at least, but no, wrong. It's absolutely wrong, Antenna. The person that you want to put in charge of coronavirus is a governor. You want a governor. Let me tell you something. Ben Carson doesn't know jack shit about what's going on in the government, okay? He's a doctor. He doesn't know anything about government. He ran. He got lucky because he well, not lucky, but I mean, he's a likable person. And he did well because of that. And so they gave him a position. And you know why they gave him a position? They gave him a position that was, of housing development, because that's something that he can learn the reins of government and then become a more successful politician in the future because he's learned the reins of things, right? So for coronavirus, you want somebody that understands that infrastructure at a state level, which means you want a governor. You want a former governor. How many former governors are there out there that the administration could hire right now? Hiring Pence is like the most sensible thing. I would frankly be concerned if they hadn't picked Pence. You need a governor. And even then, I'd kind of like, so here's the next question. What do you believe is actually involved in this job? What do you think he actually does? Like, so now he's doing it. What is Pence actually doing? What decisions do you think that he makes that you're concerned about him making? What is the job? I don't think that most people arguing about this actually know. I'm not so sure that I really know a whole lot, right? I believe that it involves having a meeting with the people involved every day in monitoring the situation and then knowing, okay, they need this particular thing and this is holding them back from doing it. So we need to go and do this executive action over here so that they can and facilitate it, right? I believe that's the majority of what he's doing. For instance, they weren't getting testing kits. The testing kits that were being sent to them didn't work. And there was regulations that prevented the states from being able to make their own testing kits. So what did they do? And they got rid of that regulation so that they can create their own testing kits, right? Those are the sorts of things that they're doing right there. And I'm telling you, you want somebody that has executive experience as a governor, not a doctor. Doctor doesn't know anything about those agencies. Trump should put the director of the CDC, Robert R. Redfield, in charge? No. The director of the CDC should continue to be the director of the CDC because that's what he's best at. If you took him out of the position of the CDC and put him in this government organization job, then who would replace him at the CDC, and would they be as good? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Did I just get along? I did. Wow, they're going through it so quickly. Makes me nervous. I love this conversation because to me, it's like the perfect example of something where I think that the conventional wisdom and people's like knee-jerk reaction on what should be done is like the exact opposite of what you should be doing. But it's only like that because we don't really understand how these agencies work or how government works, you know? Director of the CDC has far more experience in these matters than Mike Pence, who doesn't even believe in science. Well, so like I said, the director of the CDC knows a lot about the CDC. They don't necessarily know everything about all of the other state infrastructure. So there's going to be, those are all things that Mike Pence will know that the director of the CDC doesn't. And, but again, then you're going to take the director of the CDC out. So he's not doing his job at the CDC anymore. So you would have to replace him at the CDC. And I would rather have, it sounds to me like the director of the CDC is doing a good job, right? So he should continue to do his job and focus on the organization of the CDC itself. Right? You think they're going to go? Well, bonds sure fell there, didn't they? I guess they fell a while ago when we were talking earlier. I just didn't reset it, so I should do that. Let's see if they can get over this, say, 08 half area or so. You know, I wonder if I come in here. Now that we've been doing all this other stuff, I'm wondering if I add this line over onto this one. If I'll get, see something in the tenure.
Yeah, but I resent it, but you haven't accepted yet.
2952.
Too late now. I shouldn't.
But then, and also, let's not say that he doesn't believe in science. Some are suggesting that Trump is putting Pence in charge because it's a fool's errand, and this allows him an excuse to choose Nikki Haley as his VP in 2020 because Pence is so. I mean, that sounds like a conspiracy theory with absolutely no evidence to support it. In fact, I would say that the evidence probably supports the opposite. I think that Donald Trump really, really likes Mike Pence, regardless of what anybody says. And I think that he's really happy with how they've been handling things so far as well. You know, like, obviously during any kind of a crisis response, there's going to be mistakes that are made. It's always a question. You know, this is why this particular political attack, there is a natural disaster attack the people that are in charge during the national disaster, is such a potent strategy, because there's always going to be something that you can point to that didn't go as well as you would hope. But I think that so far the United States response has been pretty good. Like we had, so let's see here. What were some things that went wrong? There was, of course, they don't have enough testing kits, so they're not testing as many people as we should be. So that's definitely a problem. Then there was the case of the people that were handling the people from the cruise liner or whatever, that they weren't properly equipped, and somebody tried to whistleblow and they kind of shut it down. They're trying to make that one out to be Donald Trump's fault, but that kind of sounded to me like that had more to do with the people on the ground at the time. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, and then there was the person in California that got sick, and they didn't test him nearly as quickly as they should have. Okay, so obviously there's mistakes, but overall, like they've closed down. They've implemented travel restrictions. I think that the public is really well aware of things right now. The agencies seem to be functioning really well. I think that so far they're doing an okay job. Conspiracy, this is the guy who gave the Medal of Freedom to Rush Limbaugh. So you're trying to see what you're doing here is you're falling victim. Man, I shouldn't say this, because when I say you, like you're automatically, talk about biases, you're automatically going to be predisposed to ignore what I'm saying. But just hear me out here. What evidence do you have that that's the case? We have zero evidence. So why do you believe it? Because it fits in with what you want to believe or what you would like to have happen. You gotta be really careful with, especially if you're gonna trade on an idea like that, right? Like that they think that Pence is gonna. No, I think that he was a governor. The best person to take charge in this kind of a situation is a governor. I guarantee you this is how it worked. I guarantee you this is what happened in the White House, okay? Mike Pence follows Donald Trump around and is kind of, involved. And they're going and having all of these meetings with the people in the CDC. And Mike Pence goes, oh yeah, because X thing in the state and this organization works this way. And Donald Trump goes, oh, Mike Pence knows a lot about what is going on because he has experience doing it as a governor. And so he said, okay, you know what? I think that Mike Pence should be leading up this effort because he knows more about it than anybody else in the White House right now, because he's the only former governor. I guarantee you that's what happened. Come on, no, dude, Limbaugh is a hack. Well, whatever. It was a sly political move. All of the Republicans loved it. You're clearly not a Republican. But this is where I'm saying, I got to tell you, man. I've seen a lot of Democrats lose money in this market because their constant what is the word, tendency, where they're predisposed. Yes, that's the word that I'm looking for. There is a group of people that are predisposed to be bearish on this economy because of their political feelings, and they get slaughtered every time. And you know what? And the only reason that I get on this thing so much, because like obviously I'm a Republican right now, but because I remember seeing it with Obama. There were so many Republicans that anytime something bad happened, right? Like the Euro crisis, and I mean there was like 3 or 4 market panics while Obama was president. We all pretend like it was nothing but up because the market simply doesn't respond to the price levels that we were looking at before, both in terms of like what is a recession, what is a bear market. The truth of the matter is that in such a low interest rate, high, money liquidity environment, you're just not going to get it go as low as it has. And so the Republicans, they always thought that it was going to blow up in Obama's face. And I was always saying, hey, you know what? The market can go up regardless of how bad your president is. And guess what happened? Went up. And my instinct has nothing to do with politics. It has to do with the 100-year bull bear timeline. You think that around every 100 years that you're likely to have a really bad bear market because that happened like 2 times? I think what you're referring to is that you had a bear market in the 1920s, and you had some bad stuff happen in the 1820s, and that there are these cycles that take about, every so many generations that happen, and so the next thing that's supposed to happen is a Great Depression and a World War, right? I wouldn't trade off of that, but that's just me. Coming from somebody that honestly can't predict more than the next 8 ticks. Longest bull ever, expert saying 2020 bear insights. Not my theory. No, well, my theory is that because interest rates are so low, and because the financial system is allowed to take so little risk now, the regulations and everything involved, you can't grow it, you can't get as fast of growth, but you're also going to have much smaller pullbacks. So the Euro crisis, in my opinion, was a recession bear market. Like, that is, well, not even that. Like, I think we could go further back. Like, the trade war panic was the last one. That's as long as this bull market has been, in my perspective, because everybody wants to use these previous things that's like either two quarters with negative GDP growth or a greater than 20% decrease, a 20 to 50% decrease. I just don't think that those numbers mean anything anymore. It was a really good judge for a really long time, sure, but the financial system is so different, and we have to readjust our definitions of things. So, in my opinion, the Euro crisis was the recession. Like, honestly, think about it. Like, the economy of Greece was literally just going to be gone. Like, it was just going to completely collapse. Like they were talking about everybody that had money in the bank, you're like federally insured up to a certain amount, and they were literally talking about not following through on their insurance anymore. That they were just going to take all of the money, and all of those people just lost the money. Like, absolutely insane shit. Absolutely insane stuff. Can you imagine if that was happening in the United States? But it was happening in Greece, and it threatened to extend contagion around the world. That was way bigger deal, economically speaking, than anything we've seen lately. But that's not considered a bear market or a recession or an important, like, everybody forgets about it. The Euro crisis and the one that happened a year later after that. Like, really? We need to change our definitions, I think. Well, we're 2960 again. I had a pretty good downturn, and now it's coming back up. Like, they noticed they came right to the spot where it would trigger my sell, and it went back up. And remember I said, like, I'd be skeptical about that one? Yeah. They are maybe starting to get to the point. I think that they need to go just a little bit further. Maybe if there was a really big sweep up to 65 and then it turned around, and maybe in the next hour they could maybe turn bearish, but so far it looks to me like the bulls are still in charge over here. And the treasuries definitely fell out. We were looking at 08.5. Yeah. I got to say, though, my rule is if I'm not seeing 2500s printed on the DOM, I don't trade the treasuries. Not live, at least. Sure, but the current pullback situation doesn't jive with the argument that investors have no fear because of low interest rates. Well, I don't think that investors have no fear because of low interest rates. I think that that's just something that you have to consider into the the equation. Like, in my opinion, panic selling stocks right here is a really dumb idea. Because like I said, if the whole thing it's all coronavirus will not survive the summer. Well, it'll probably still be around, of course, but it's going to be significantly less of a problem in the summer. And you're not going to be having the same kind of, this is just an impact that's not going to last past quarter two. Okay. And because of all of that, the Federal Reserve is going to flood the market with money. This market is going to bounce back so effing hard. I just can't imagine if you have a good stock portfolio panic selling it here. Thoughts on the FedWatch tool saying 100% chance for 2 basic rate cuts later this month? Yeah, for sure. The only thing I guess I can say about that is that the FedWatch tool can move very quickly. So, you know, a month ago it was not. They were not doing that, right? It basically came down into that chance like in the last week. But probably they're going to cut twice. Yeah, probably. The problem I have is I don't know where you price treasuries based off of that. I would assume, though, that they've priced it in. So when I look at the movement in the treasuries, they're mostly turning when the E-mini turns. So, yeah. I don't know where you should price stocks for all of this shock. But they price it in. I say at some point you're going to buy, you're going to be happy when it bounces back. That won't change the fact that the market will be in a downtrend for the next few months, bounce back, sure, but not until summer or fall. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a downtrend, right? That's where it's a really troublesome sort of a thing. You're going to have days when it moves up and you have days when it moves down, right? Trump might push the Fed to go negative to keep, well, I don't know about that. I think there's a 0% chance that there's going to be negative interest rates. And if Donald Trump starts pushing for negative interest rates, I think that they will talk him out of it. That would be so disastrous for the United States, for the world, frankly. But I digress. But anyways, it's totally possible to go sideways for a long time, right? I mean, that's what happened during the trade war. So we kind of have to get to a point where we're fairly valued, and I don't know if we are or if we're not. It's impossible for me to know that. But at some point, you're going to have it priced in. And then, yeah, sentiment's probably still negative at that point. So I don't think that you really start the recovery, probably not until the end of the summer. You know, like, well, maybe June, July, August, but it's probably going to be August, right? When maybe you can start to get like real strong up days. But in the meantime, I think that you can have a lot of volatility. You can have really strong moves up and really strong moves down, and an overall price action that most people would just consider to be sideways. You know, like if the question is right now, should I be buying or selling? I don't think that the sell. I don't want to say that the sell doesn't make sense. I was about to say that. No, I think that you got to be really cautious about the sell though, because there was a crazy strong buy going into the close on Friday. Yes, we did open lower, but it looks like that they're willing to retrace that move. We're probably going to get back up to 29.90, and then past that, maybe they can extend further. And if they can extend past 30.15, then you kind of get a situation where bulls could push more, right? Into summer is when I'm going all in. Even if it goes down after that, it will go by 2021. Well, I'm thinking, when my wife goes back to work, I want to increase my 401k contributions for a few months. Would have been last week would have been a great time to do it, but I'm because we just had a baby and all of these sorts of things. I just want to give myself plenty of extra buffer. So now is probably not the time to take a couple $100 out of my paycheck, but for that sort of a thing, you can average in, and you can't do it like all at once. So, did it give me the? Yeah, the last one was short. Oh, thanks. It was saying congratulations on the baby. Oh, Igar was posting from Friday. Taking a pause on scalps. I'm net long though.
You know, I feel like
It looks like most of our guys in Discord were going long. TK is bullish. Oh no. Oh, that's interesting. He took a bunch of trades up in there. He got a good long though. Oh, that's interesting. He's using a combination of NinjaTrader 8 and what is it called? Bookmap. Bookmap. Changes your whole perspective on life. I don't know about that. I think that I already had that kind of perspective, especially since I had step kids before that. But certainly some things about the way, like especially gender roles, that I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Like some things are this way because it's just way easier when you have a baby to do it that way. Like my wife's not. She has a baby. You're not supposed to go into public with them for like 6 weeks. So, this is why the wife usually stays at home. Because if we had everything set up so that the wife was the one that was out, it would be really hard. It's my first baby. This is her fourth. Hmm. So I don't know if AP is still there, but here is a really good spot when you're looking here. This back and forth on the level 2 is where I'm kind of like, you gotta be careful about reading too much into that, because you can see that they can pull 500 lots very easily, and doesn't even look like any volume hit it to make it happen. Because what'll happen is robots will sell into 04 half to try and catch the edge, and then it ticks down, and if it doesn't immediately start ticking into 04, then they just buy back into 04 half and scratch it. And they might have an order sitting there as their take profit, like at 04, for instance. He could totally just pull that 1700 at will if he wanted to. So, especially when you're talking about less than 2,000 lots in the 10-year treasury, you got to be really careful about reading too much into it. My whole worldview changed after having a kid. I couldn't have cared less about so many things before I had a kid. Now I look at people in the supermarket with their kids and have empathy. Oh, yeah. So the E-mini is still at 64 area. Oh, but just getting to the short area again. Still uncertain if this one is enough. There is some volume up there, so this one might turn down a little bit more. 68.25. It's not a. Oh, I need to do it on this one. It's not a ton of volume though, especially since there's that 67 still. So I don't think that one's one I could take either. Well, speaking of which, it's 7:30 now, so we've been doing this for like what, 3 hours? I think it's a good time to stop. But I only planned on doing this an hour, and then a couple of new guys came in and started asking questions, and it was always a good opportunity to like catch people times when, because a lot of people just aren't necessarily looking at YouTube in the morning, but maybe you will in the future. So if you enjoyed this, then click that subscribe button, hit the bell icon. It's much easier to find the stream if you enable the notifications. So a much higher percentage of my audience uses the notification than what is YouTube average according to the data I've been provided. So appreciate it. I don't know if this is going to turn down or not. It kind of gave me a signal, but it might be a fake signal. Like it's against trend. You always got to be careful against that. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Yep. Thank you. I enjoyed the conversation. It was an interesting chat. I'll see you tomorrow. And in the meantime, and here's, oh, that's not what I wanted to click. Here's our Patreon subscribers. Thank you very much. See you guys tomorrow. And in the meantime, stay profitable.